Alright, this is pt02 and this is part 2 of the Master Grade Victory Gundam review. And yes, I finally got the cockpit open. It was just a little bit tricky, kind of like everything to deal with this Master Grade. You just have to slide out this part of the core fighter, and you can see the pilot in there under glass. And then you just slide it back in, and yeah. Not a very stable Master Grade, because even when I slid out his cockpit, like his whole torso came loose from the hip joint. So yeah, this part we're going to be going over the Victory Gundam's weapons and accessories. Like I already mentioned in the first part, if you get the 30th anniversary version, you get these nice clear parts, which is basically just the blue runner, and all of these blue parts you see on here would be replaced with clear. Alright, just digging through this box here. First you get 2 clear pink beam sabers, and to get to the beam sabers, they're inside these little red thingies. And luckily they're pretty loose in there, so you don't have to really try too hard to get them. They just sort of fall out. Anyway, very, very small beam sabers, and the beams fit in quite nicely. And like I showed you in the first part of the review, Victory Gundam does have fingers to accommodate the beam sabers. All you have to do is pop out the fist fingers, put in the beam saber fingers, and slide in the beam saber. And there is a peg in his hand somewhere. God, look at this. His leg fell off again. He just falls apart when you're barely even messing with him. Anyway, there is a peg that lets him hold on to the beam saber like so. But aside from just the standard beam sabers, you also get this clear pink beam fan, which I actually haven't watched Victory Gundam, the show, so I'm not really sure how this is used, but you do get it included with the Master Grade. And it's basically exactly what its name implies, is a big beam fan. I assume it can do a bit more damage than a normal beam saber, seeing as how it has a wider range. Anyway, like most other Gundams, you will also get a beam rifle, which is actually molded in kind of a brownish gray color. I'm not sure if that's showing up too well on camera, but it does have a brownish tint to it. You can actually disassemble it to form, that part's not supposed to come off. There we go. To form this tiny little beam handgun. It's almost like a beam pistol anyway, so it's got a little camera up there on top. So yeah, you can do that with it. And then you can put all this back on. And anyway, yeah, beam rifle. Let's see. You also get 2 action-based connectors. One for connecting it in mobile suit mode, and one for connecting it in its little transformed mode, which we'll get to in another part. You get a extra Vfin, which is actually molded in polycap material. Now, Bandai hasn't done this in forever, but a lot, in fact almost all of the early Master Grades came with 2 sets of V-fins, one molded in this polycap material and the other molded in regular plastic. And I think probably about 2000, 2001, they quit doing that for some reason. And apparently now the V Gundam, they started doing it again. So that was a nice touch. Let's see. For the version Katoki color scheme, you get these two white vents on the shoulders, but if you prefer your Victory Gundam to be of the TV color scheme, you also get these two blue ones. And that's pretty much the only color scheme change between the Katoki version and the TV version. Also, you get these two little clips which replace the hands in the transformed mode. You get a Hexa core fighter, which I'm just going to show you here. I'll actually go over the transformation and everything in the transformation part of the review. And you get a nifty little action base connector molded in clear plastic to put it onto the action base. Next up, you get a set of clear landing gear for the core fighters. You only get one, you don't get landing gear for both. I'm not really sure why they molded it in clear. I would have thought landing gear would be molded in gray or white maybe, and paint the wheels black, but I don't know, for some reason Bandai chose clear. Oh wait, I forgot one piece of landing gear. So there's 4 pieces of landing gear. You get a little figure of the pilot in 1:100 scale with his little Haro by his foot. And oh, almost forgot. You also get a beam shield, which has a very nice rainbow holographic kind of look to it, and has some nice little electricity lines going around the edges. So very nice detail. Definitely the best looking beam shield that I've ever seen. And the way you attach it is on the end of these little red thingies where the beam sabers came out. Just line this up like, oops, like so, trying not to drop the red part, and then put that back in there, and there you go, beam shield. Although it is maneuvered kind of awkwardly, so I mean you can have it forward, but he's got to bend his arm forward to bring it to the front, and well, there it goes. That's a little bit more to the front, but as you can see, this red thing is pretty loose. In fact, this entire master grade is pretty loose. You can bring it to the front like so, but I mean, it's very, very floppy. It's not going to hold its pose for very long at all. So, aside from the decals, which I already showed you in part 1, that's pretty much it for weapons and accessories. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's got a lot of weapons and accessories. It's got a complete extra core fighter, which most mobile suits with core fighters only come with one, and a nice beam rifle, which converts into a pistol. You've got 2 beam sabers and a beam fan and a beam shield, and landing gear for the core fighters. So yeah, lots of accessories with this kit. Kind of almost halfway makes up for him being so floppy. So that's it for part 2. I think in part 3 we'll probably go over, I'm thinking the inner frame. I may just save the transformation for the final part in part 4. So whichever thing I decide to do next, make sure to come back and watch part 3.